So that also could be true. If that is where the hearing officer ends up, maybe that's true, then you have lost, right? Because you haven't met your burden of proof. Nobody has proved anything, and in that situation, the person that files a claim is going to lose every time because they have a burden of proof. They got to prove the case, or they will lose. But we can certainly hold that hearing, right? Folks will be able to go in front of the hearing officer, explain their side of the story, and the hearing officer will make a decision about whether anybody's proved anything or not, and then tell folks what they need, what needs to happen. If we go that route, in terms of time frames, the leading edge from your hearings is about 3 months out. The time from when we hold the hearing until the actual decision goes out is about a minimum of a month, but it can be much longer, 8 or 9 months in the worst case scenario. So from today until we have a decision, one way or the other, we're looking at like a minimum of 4 months and a maximum of a year or so. So the hearing process is not particularly swift. It takes a long time. But it's one way we can go. We can certainly hold a hearing. The other possibility that we have is to get things resolved today through a settlement. A settlement is an agreement on a dollar figure to resolve a claim without holding a hearing. Because it's an agreement, it will almost inevitably represent some sort of compromise, right? That makes sense. If I'm the employee, for example, and I say, I'd be happy to settle my claim for everything that I might possibly get if I go to a hearing, well, the employer is always going to say, I will see you at the hearing, right? Because it can't be any worse than that, right? So I might as well just go see what happens. If it turns out bad, it turns out bad, but who knows? And vice versa, right? If the employer says, well, I'll give you a penny to settle your claim, well, the employer's going to say, I will risk that guaranteed penny just to go see what happens at the hearing, right? So I guess the question would be whether you have an interest in talking about a potential settlement to avoid having to go to a hearing, Mr. Putnam. Would you like to talk about it?
Well, can I just say one thing before that? I thought this was going to be whether or not there was validity to his case. I don't see any evidence that shows he even worked for me, he has any pay stubs, nothing. I mean, why would we go any further than this?
Well, let's say I work for somebody and they never pay me. Guess what? I'll never have a pay stub because they didn't pay me.
For all this time,
You would think that a person who works months and months would maybe stop working because they're not getting paid. You'd think.
Well, yeah.
But I see claims where people work. I've seen a person work for a year without getting paid, and they kept working. Was that really dumb? Yeah, it sure was. So it's not impossible that a person works an extended period of time without getting paid. Who knows why, right? He's probably a terrible decision.
He's using you to get to do this. This is what he's doing. I mean,
right. Well, what can I tell you? Anybody can file a claim, right?
It's really not fair that I've had to waste all my time and yours and gas money and stuff. I mean, I had to leave my family during a holiday like this. It sucked.
It is a cost of business.
Yeah, and I was doing him a favor. I don't understand why he should have to prove something right now for us to go any further.
Well, because this isn't a hearing, right? Ultimately, we're not holding a hearing now. I'm not the guy that will hold the hearing. All I get to do is determine if we have a factual dispute, right? And whether that factual dispute could involve a violation of the labor code, which it would, right? If he worked and didn't get paid, that's a violation.
What other proof could he have? I mean, how does somebody prove that they work somewhere?
Well, maybe he brings in somebody who says, oh yeah, he totally cut my hair. I was there. He cut my hair on a number of occasions over the months. Who knows? I don't know, right? But ultimately, you're right that he hasn't proved his case, but neither have you, right? All you've done is told me, no, that didn't happen.
Well,
right?
I could prove it by the math is wrong, first of all. He's trying to get exactly how many hours he could possibly get in the year's time that you need 3,200 hours like that. He's trying to get half of them right now free without doing anything.
Right. And you may be right. Mathematically, maybe the scenario he's outlining wouldn't add up.
Won't add up?
But does that prove that he didn't work at all?
It's proven that he's lying.
It proves at least that he was incorrect in something, right? A lie is when you intentionally try to deceive somebody, right? I can make a math mistake.
That's what we're doing here.
That would be your account of things.
Right.
Right. Or, alternatively, you're lying, right?
Well,
I'm not saying you are,
right.
and I'm not saying he is. I'm not here to make that decision.
Well, we can do it right right now in our heads and know that numbers don't line up.
Right, maybe the numbers don't line up, but that in and of itself doesn't mean it's impossible
The
to
beginning
perform
of
work.
something unwinding.
You're right,
What
it
if I
could
got-
indeed
yeah.
be the beginning of something unwinding. You're
What
right.
if I had another fact or something that could add up to a big unwinding or
Right.
something?
Then you will want to present that fact at the hearing, and things will
All
unwind.
right.
So,
Okay.
yeah, if we were holding a hearing, the line of thinking you're going down is exactly right, right? If you can pick it apart to the point where the hearing officer's like, yeah, this doesn't make sense.
That'll work.
It doesn't add up.
Right.
They may well go, yeah, I don't believe the guy worked. In which case you will win.
All right, cool.
But since we're not at that point yet, would you have an interest in not having to go to that hearing by getting some sort of settlement
I'd
done?
give them the gas money and the time, my time's worth for that day. That's
Okay.
about it.
All right. So that would be a relatively small figure compared to the size of the claim. Would you have an interest in resolving a claim for a fairly nominal amount? Is there a figure that you would be willing to resolve the claim for?
Well, I guess, I mean, if my math's wrong, then the correct math, that's fine.
Right. Well, I don't think that's going to happen as far as the settlement goes. Any settlement that does happen is going to be a compromise. What you're saying is, if I get everything, sure, I'll settle. Well, like I say, that's not going to happen. Not as a settlement, anyway.
Yeah, I just have a lot of expenses, and I went to the school and everything, so.
Well, that doesn't have anything to do with your claim.
Yeah, he spent some time in the school, maybe, but not
Well,
me.
it kind of does, because Mr. Putnam is the one who recommended that I do the apprenticeship program, so that included me paying for the school and everything.
It's not part of your claim.
I realize that defendant, the one side is saying that there was no work done, but in reality, I did work all that time, so
Right.
I feel entitled to this.
So that's not answering the question I have.
I guess, 15,000?
Okay. I'm assuming you don't want to settle for $15,000.
I
All
didn't
right.
make that much this year, hardly.
All right. Then we're going to get to hold a hearing. Unless you have any questions, Mr. Putnam, I can let you go. The next thing you're going to get from us is that notice of hearing.
I guess I don't. Thanks for allowing me to come late. I'm sorry I was late.
Yeah, it happens.
And I don't have anything to say, I guess.
Okay. The next thing you'll get from us will be the notice of hearing, let you know when to come in. Hearings are here in the same location, not in my office, down the hall just a little bit. And we'll be in touch when we have a date.
So, should I bring witnesses and stuff like that, or what's
Yes.
best?
Yeah.
Like graphs to show that he was never there by all the people that I get affidavits
If
for?
you've got something like that, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. The hearing is when the rubber hits the road as far as evidence goes. So anything that you have that supports your contention that he did not work is something that you'll want to present.
Okay. All right.
All righty. Thanks for
And
coming in.
do we take lie detector tests?
No, for two reasons. First of all, lie detector evidence is not admissible in any court in the country. And second of all, who do you think we are? Lie detectors?
No,
Give me a break.
Well, I just don't want to, I don't have the kind of money he's talking about. I don't know what I would do. I mean,
No,
it's crazy.
No, don't worry about lie detectors.
All right. Okay.
All right. So you and I are going to sit down and do a little bit of math. If it is indeed impossible that you worked as many hours as you say you worked, we're going to have to refine that math and get something that makes more sense.
One question: since I can't afford a lawyer to defend myself, how do I go about? Do you guys appoint one or something, or is this something?
No. Once again, we don't have lie detectors and we don't have court-appointed attorneys.
Okay.
Most folks that go through our process do not have an attorney. The main reason for that is in Superior Court, right, if I get an attorney and I win, the other side is going to have to pay for him, right? Here, that's not true. If I get an attorney and I win, I then turn around and pay my attorney.
Yeah.
So most people skip the attorney part. But you don't need an attorney, right?
What about him?
If he wants to get an attorney and go pay for one, he can do that.
Then I won't have to pay for that?
Nope.
Okay, cool. All right, then.
All righty. Thanks for coming in. So...